And also Mrs. Alfreda Black Lilly up to the podium, please. Wanda was another very popular nominee. She just left SNET, SBC, AT&T, Alphabet Soup. She just left us about a year ago.
A year.
Okay, she just left us like a year ago, and when I heard that Wanda was leaving, that was just terrible. Wanda had risen to be the head of our staffing department, which in old school language was the personnel department. And so you all know how important it was, her position, in having her sitting in that chair with the tall back that she could swivel around and throw her stiletto heel up on top of the desk if she wanted to. So when we found out that Wanda was leaving, everybody was really sad, even though I think she had like 40 years. Look at her, she looked like she's 4 years old. But she had like 40 years in the company. So even though we hated to see her go, we understood. If you look like that and you can swing around in an office chair, you might as well just be retired and enjoy yourself. So Wanda, if you would come up and say a few words, and then I would like two of your nominators, Rono McField and Alfreda Black Lilly, to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
As anyone who knows me, I don't like to talk too much. I like to stay behind the scenes, not low-key it. But they asked me if I had a story to tell, and I have a real good story. I think Rono and Alfreda might know this one. I was working in Links. At that time, that was the singular company for SNET. We weren't SBC, we were not AT&T. At that time, it was SNET Links. Well, 1996, 95 was the worst season for storms.
Oh, yes.
And they decided to move us from 555 Longwalk to Rocky Hill. And everyone knows me, I don't drive the highway, I don't drive the parkway, don't do 91 at all, 95. Here we go. I have to go there that year, the worst snowstorms ever. Every other week we had a snowstorm. Okay? Get word that during the blizzard, all customer service must report to work. You have to be there in the blizzard. Okay? Now here I am, driving from Camden up 91, whiteout conditions, hands sprinting on the wheel, can't see anything, watching the tail light, So I get there, get in there and everything, sit down. Everyone telling everyone to log in. All right, guys, you gotta log in because you gotta be ready. Calls are coming in. Are you there? We just want to see if you're really there today. These are our customers calling us. Yes, we're here. SNET is always there to take your call. So a couple hours go by. Our director comes on. Oh, they said it's getting bad out. I think you guys can leave now. So those are one of the stories I have in my many experience in working for SNET, SBC, AT&T. But I do want to leave this with you because just like Carl and the rest of the folks here were saying, if you can just reach out and help someone on the way up, just look back at that person and help someone, okay? And treat them with dignity and respect.
Thank you, God.
You will be surprised of the values and rewards that you get from that one act of kindness. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Rono and Alfreda, if you would come up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Rono McField. I'm a manager with our staffing department, And I've had the opportunity with working with Wanda most of my career. Actually, I started out with her back in '96 in the company at the time. I was a sales specialist. She was one of the managers in our group. And she was someone that became a good friend and a good person that I worked with. And basically gave me inspiration and gave me words of encouragement when you may need it. And one of the things that she helped me understand is the path and the things that you need to do to be a good employee at the phone company. And I only had a short stint that I was able to work with her while I was in the wireless department, but she went on to another job in network, and I actually went to our 811 call center. And after a couple of years, I had the opportunity to go in the staffing department, which she eventually was. And just like everyone was talking about what Trailblazers are, she's exactly the definition of that. You know, when I had the opportunity for the job in the staffing department, she was one of those folks that, because of knowing my past experience and my work ethic, you know, put words in for me for that opportunity, which I've now been at for the last 12 years. So when I was asked to think about someone that has given an opportunity and has been a trailblazer, she was one of the first people that came to my mind. So it's a pleasure to be here and be here to share this honor with her. And I just want to say thank you.
Hi, my name is Alfreda Black-Lily. Wanda Lewis was my supervisor when I worked at Lynx. And when we worked at Lynx, we worked hard. And if you didn't know your job and you needed help, Wanda gave you the tools to do your job. We had fun, but we worked hard. And she was like a second mother to all of us. And in that way, if you didn't do your job and you were trying to get away with something, you didn't get away with it with Wanda. And she was right there. She took care of us, and we all took care of each other. And every day she was always smiling, just like she is now, you know. But and she moved on throughout the company, and all you had to do was say Wanda, and everybody knew her. And when we were busy, she'd say the light is on. It took me about a year to figure out where the light was. There was a wall. There was a wall with a light on it. I figured it out when we were moving up the Rocky Hill where the light was. But we all had a good time. And she was the first one that, the name that came to my mind. But we all love her. Thank you.
Now or later?
No, later.
Okay. Thank you, Alfreda. Alfreda had a lot of nominees. Alfreda, how many years do you have?
27 and a half.
27 and a half, and she must have nominated 3 or 4 people, and then she went to nominating active employees. I said, oh, come on. At this point, we'd like to move on, and we have Ms. Vivian Lopes here, and Ms. Lopes also worked in staffing back in the day, and I believe you started in the 50s, maybe, at the company?
55.
Good. So we are honored to have you. And I said, oh, yes, it is. Well, come to find out. And not only that, I've spoken to her a couple of times in preparation for today, and she has, in addition to that stylish flair, she represents old school telephone company, because back in the day, if you worked at the phone company, you did not have a hair out of place. You were sharp from head to toe, tip to top. You were sharp. But she has a very distinctive voice as well. She says, well, thank you, darling. I said, oh, I'm going to borrow some of her diction. So she's just a wonderful, marvelous young lady. And Tom is ready. We're back.
She's embarrassing me.
Oh, don't blush.
I'm a person of very few words. I would just like to thank the committee for this honor. Some of the most enjoyable times of my life were at the telephone company. working with other members of the telephone company. The experiences were great, co-workers were great. I don't know what else to say, other than I thank you again and again and again. I did work for SNET for 28.5 years, and it was SNET at that particular time. And I want to tell you just one little story about how things were working back in that time. I was in the employment office, and in order to be an employee in the business office, you had to have 2 years of college, no less. You could have more, but it must be 2 years. Now, most of you in here who are my age or a little younger, maybe not as young as some of these folks, knew back then there weren't that many minorities that had 2 years of college. This is way back in the 50s. So therefore, we were locked out into working in the business office. And I had a supervisor who was really very, very nice, but every other day she and I would get into it. I said, Diane, you are not keeping employees in the business office because they do not know how to handle the customers. People that call in and say, I cannot pay my bill, would you please extend it? Their service was cut off. Give some of the other people that come in and apply for jobs an opportunity. Sure enough, they threw out that 2-year rule. They started hiring employees that qualified with people contact, personality. They knew how to deal with an individual who's down on their luck and couldn't pay their bill today, but maybe tomorrow. And they didn't have the turnover that they previously had because the others were bored. They didn't have the knack to work with other people. So that was one of the experiences I learned. You have to know how to work with people and give them all an opportunity. It doesn't always mean they have to have a college education, a master's degree. It's people. Having the know-how to work with other people. And again, I said I'm a person of few words, and I'm going on and on. But again, I'd like to thank you all for this opportunity. I really feel quite honored. Thank you.
Hello again. Back when I got hired in 1971, Mrs. Lope was in the employment office. And I was impressed with her style. And that's why I'm still here. And I'm her daughter ruler now. I'm in charge. But the daughters of Pocahontas Temple number 55, Daughters of Elf of the True Benevolent Protected Order of the World, they gave you a little donation for your kindness. And like I told Brother Jones, maybe you could join him. Just a little love token from me to you.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Ms. Bennett?
President to join us for this show?
Yes.
She's the oldest.
She's our oldest honoree to date. Yes, thank you.
No disrespect to the other honorees, but.
No, it's okay.
Great, thank you.
Oh, she was 89 in April.
God bless you. Thank you so much, Ms. Lewis. Thank you so much. At this time, is Miss Sheila Moody in the house? Joan Howell, who you heard from a little earlier, Joan Howell nominated Sheila Moody, and I didn't have the pleasure of meeting Ms. Moody, but I understand she's also an instrumental person in getting folks hired. And, well, Joan told you about it. And she's also a person that worked in the personnel office, human relations, staffing. That's our new word for it. That's the new buzzword. So if you would please turn your attention to Joan, and Joan, say a few words about Sheila Moody, please.
I think I've told that story, so you guys have heard that part, but I never really told her how special she was and how much I appreciated her. And I'll probably go by her house when I leave here and drop off flowers in the card. But I did write something in this card that I got. It was just, it says thank you. And I'm not sure, I said, I'm not sure if you remember me from 20 years ago, but I know I walked into SNET with the attitude I wasn't leaving until I had a job. I am sure glad you were there and let me know what was available to me. Your guidance has provided me a wonderful life, and it's nice to have a moment to let you know how important you were. And it just says, it was appreciated more than she'll ever know.
Thank you. Thank you. And Joan, please let her know that we missed her today. I was looking forward to meeting her.
I took pictures, so she'll have pictures to look at, because I'll go by her house.
And Tom will have everything up on his blog spot by tomorrow, because he's fast and he's excellent. Moving right along, at this time I would like to call Mr. Wayne Tolson's son, who I believe is Wayne Tolson Jr. And did your mom arrive? Oh, okay. And Mrs. Tolson, please come. Oh, hello, hello.
Good afternoon.
Mom, you can step up there. I think he's looking for you.
So my mother wanted to make sure I was here today because she didn't want to have to do this by herself.
Okay.
She was shy. But she wasn't shy in raising me. In any event, this is a great honor. Since my father's passing, I've had to go to quite a few events, surprisingly, and different organizations. I think this is the fourth one to accept different awards. And so for me, it's been interesting because I've gotten to see a little bit of his perspective and a little bit about his life from a different perspective than my own. So that's been great, and I'm definitely appreciative. I didn't really have anything planned, but I've got so many stories from him. Some I can tell, some I can't. But people used to always ask me growing up, you know your dad works for the phone company, works for the phone company. You know, do you know what he does? And I said, well, I really don't know what he does, but I get the feeling that he owns it. But seriously, one of the things I do want to touch upon quickly is I saw that you guys are donating money to the United Negro College Fund. And I don't know if you're aware or not, but my dad and my mother met actually in Austin, Texas, at Huston Tillotson College. And my father actually received the United Negro College Fund scholarship. I won't say what year because it'll date my mother and I'll get in trouble later. But if it were not for the United Negro College Fund, I probably wouldn't be here. And the other thing I want to mention is that I actually went to private schools. I went to private school locally and also private college, but I was fortunate enough to take a year and go to Bowie State University, which is one of the oldest HBCUs, for those of you who don't know, it's a historically black college and university. I was fortunate enough to go there for a year and received an athletic scholarship. And playing all the different schools, Florida A&M, Hampton, Howard, playing in the CIAA tournament and going around the country. You know, one of the things that I noticed was the difference, you know, between some of the schools, some of the private schools and the traditional universities. Schools like Hampton, Howard, Florida A&M have, you know, great funding and architecture and all those sorts of things. But a lot of the other schools, sadly enough, are very, very challenged in terms of resources and things of that nature. So I think it's important that, you know, that you're doing something for United Go College Fund, and remember the 100 or so HBCUs, because it's important that we level the playing field, I think. And so, you know, that's one of the things that I took away from it. So I was glad to see that, that that's a charity you guys have chosen. So thank you for the award on behalf of my